Ahsoka season 2 just gave us a lot to talk about. Anakin is back. Thrawn is preparing for war, and Ahsoka may finally have to answer if she's an actual Jedi. That's pretty crazy. Plus, Zero Company takes us into a hidden side of the Clone Wars, and Ryan Gosling is about to take Star Wars somewhere completely different. So let's talk Star Wars. I'm Ron. That's Nick. This is Star Wars Jedi Chat. What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
We are here. We got a bunch of people in here already tonight. So I love it. Mike's on his way. He is coming back from vacation. He's going to come here and join us in a little while. So hold your breath on that. He will be here. So thanks for everybody being in here tonight. There's a bunch of people already in here. So let's go ahead and say hello to everybody. I know Brandon came in last night and put some posts up, but I appreciate Brandon from Clan Brandalorian. But Brandon Baker was the first one in here. Max Rebo, Holly, thanks for joining us. 730 Evie is in the house already, so that's awesome. Lane is here. Papa Boz, Nathan, Jessica. Bam, everybody's here tonight. John, thank you. Guest strips, appreciate you guys. Everybody coming in tonight. So we got a really cool show. Everybody knows, I'm sure everybody was on here the other night for D23 when I was on with Mike, which was so cool. I got to stay up late. We got to watch everything, which was pretty awesome. Again, Mike did a fantastic job, bringing us these 3-hour podcasts, live streams. It was awesome. We talked about everything, all the new clothing that came up, and then finally the last thing was Star Wars, was Ahsoka season 2, which was amazing. Obviously you've watched it a few times, Nick. First impressions?
Great.
Yeah.
First thing I said kind of like in my head was how great it looked. Yeah. Right. I know that's kind of obvious, but I did think, if we were to go back 3 years in the Jedi Chat, I probably said, like, I thought Ahsoka was a little shaky and some of the things would look great. Some of them I wasn't a huge fan of. This looked awesome. So just like the cinematography of it looks great. Great trailer. Didn't give us too much, gave us enough. If you thought this wasn't an Heir to the Empire adjacent story, I think you were just proven wrong, maybe, Austin. But no, I mean, first impressions were I immediately watched it again. Would have done it anyway if I didn't like it, but immediately just turned the dial back, watched it many more times. And then shout out, I know you shouted out Mike for the D23 stuff, but shout out to Mike also for helping us break the costumes when we were on here for the recap of Rebel Scum Con. He helped us sort of break that to our viewers because he was watching it like a hawk. I feel like we got it out pretty quick. I don't know if we've time stamped it, but shout out Mike for all of his work. But yeah, first impression, I mean, we have a lot to go over, but first impressions were everything looks like we're dialed for this story, Not that I didn't have any issues with Thrawn from last season, but I think he looks even better now, Just things I didn't know would look better or, anyway, looks epic. Looks exactly what we've been talking about for the last 3 years, Yeah. 730 Evie. Yeah, it looked more like a movie than like the first season of one of the first Disney Plus shows. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, it just, and I think everybody that saw it brought their hype level back up again because everybody was so excited that it was going to be here, at the end of this year. And then it got pushed back. So I think it sort of fell off a little bit. People were a little pissed off, maybe, maybe a little bit, disappointed. And now we have January 20th. We have a release date for it, which is awesome. And, so I think that got people sort of a little bit hyped. And then, like you said, Mike dropping some of those costumes and stuff for this, where we were able to drop them a few days beforehand. And, and other content creators put that stuff out as well, but it was just so cool to see that stuff, going on and check with everything. But let's go ahead and let's watch this again. If I think everybody's down with that, Mike will be here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and watch this.
Tell me, Ahsoka, what troubles you? I'm always walking by your side.
Citizens of the glorious empire, I have returned. I took an oath to protect the empire. I therefore declare war on the Rebel Alliance.
I had a vision.
What did you see?
More. More and more danger than I thought.
Baylan claimed to have knowledge of a power.
Master!
One that could end wars.
A long time ago, I walked away from the Jedi.
This is your trial, Ahsoka. Take your time to decide. Are you a Jedi? Or not?
I mean,
Pretty
come on.
fantastic.
It's I mean, it does, like you said, it looks like a movie. It looks
Mm-hmm.
like it could be on the big screen, which would be amazing. If we could get that on the big screen, it would be pretty cool. But I wish we could stop frame every single one of those. If you guys haven't yet, Mike does have a breakdown. It's a great one. He talks about everything that we see in there. I'm sure there's some other stuff that we'll catch as we continue to watch it more and more. But everything that's coming on here, it's just incredible. Everybody in the chat here, 1 to 10, what is your hype now for Ahsoka season 2? I mean, myself, Nick, I know you've been hyped up. I know Mike and Derek have been hyped for this, and I think we still were. But after watching this trailer, I think everybody's hype level has gone up. So 1 to 10, what do you guys think?
Mhm.
Yeah, 730 Evie. I'm right up there with you. Max is always a 6.9.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to with the word hype. Like, you're either hyped or you're not. So you're either we're always hyped for it. But I think, like, when we were assuming we were getting it around now, right? Like several months ago, we thought maybe it'd be out in August or something, and to hear that it'd be 2027, knowing we have a lot of 2027 stuff to cover, I think we were kind of like bummed out for a little bit. And now to not only get the date, but like a big trailer of it, and knowing that it's January, I mean, throw all of our predictions out the window. I mean, I think you actually called that date, like late January, February-ish.
Yeah,
but
I
knowing
figured
that
it was going to be earlier.
Yeah, knowing that it's coming this soon, huge trailer for it, kind of hitting on the questions that we have been asking about it for 3 years, of what we're going to cover. Yeah, and should we just get into it? Because I got something to say. Like, we talk about this all the time, but if the Star Wars trend holds, that these trailers are like the first 15 to 20% of whatever the thing is, most of the trailer, right? Whether it's for a movie or especially a series, like the season 1 of Ahsoka, most of the trailers were the first 2 episodes that they released on day 1, right? Like most of the content in the trailers. So if that's the case here, Thrawn gets busy, right? Like if that trend holds, the war starts immediately. And we got he gets a win first. I assume all that kind of stuff that's going on is Thrawn obviously declaring war, which is a great line. and then getting after it on Dathomir, wherever. Because we'll talk about it later, but like Ezra knows where he went, obviously. So anyway, they're getting busy right away, which means we've got like potentially 6 more episodes to open up all of the weird stuff that we've been craving. That may not be like the general audience's cup of tea, but that's what we've been kind of hoping for with this show in particular. So
yeah, I like this right here. How do you say that name?
Akbar?
No, I know that.
Mechanized.
Yeah, mechanized. Putting that up there. Yeah, we didn't. But we know we're going to see him, so that's pretty cool. And I wish we would have got a little glimpse of him in that, because we pretty much got a glimpse of everybody, that of the main characters that are going to be in there, which I thought was pretty awesome. We get and a couple extra that we don't know. Right. And I think, maybe we'll get into a few of them when Mike gets on as well. But, some of these new characters, we got some new looks for people. We're obviously, I don't know if we know what snow planet they're on when Anakin and Ahsoka and this new guy with the blue lightsaber are fighting. Do we know what planet that is yet?
I don't know. Maybe the chat knows, maybe Mike knows. But
yeah.
If I could see them maybe sort of just adding a little past adventure for them, where obviously they probably own the same coats that they have in the Clone Wars. Or it could be like, we never saw this mystery new guy they're fighting in the Clone Wars, so maybe it's just some other mission they did. I don't know. That's probably something we'll get into when we talk that guy or whatever. But I think I saw some people, I'm curious what you think or what the chat thinks of, like, judging by all the things we pick out in these trailers, where this puts them in the Clone Wars arc. Like, people identified, obviously the Siege of Mandalore was one spot in the last, the World Between Worlds episode where Anakin's like, I don't remember this one, and we do. Right. Maybe the one before that, I forget where it is. People can remind me. I'm not going to turn in my Star Wars fan card for not remembering. But people identified where those flashbacks were. This one, I would have said we said it when we saw the coats before we saw the trailer. Oh, it's going to be the arc where they, the planet with the people from Senator Chuchi's, faction and the like abominable snow people are at odds and they have to choose sides. But we didn't see this character in that. So could be a whole nother place. I don't know.
Right. Well, but even last season when they show the Siege of Mandalore, because Anakin doesn't know where they're at because he wasn't there. And that was the cool thing. So again, it's sort of, it almost sounds sort of like that when they're fighting a little bit, because there's a little bit of conversation and we don't know that. So obviously this has happened in the past, hopefully for both of them. And like you said, we'll get to that at some point and sort of figure out where that is and when that took place. And I think there's going to be a lot more in that era or in that time frame that they're showing us already. So I think that'll be pretty cool to dive into that and figure where that is. There's a lot of people, in the chat, dropping planets and stuff like that. But I don't know if this could possibly be a new planet again, just like we just got for the beginning of Mandalorian and Grogu. They just named that snowy planet. But I almost think that this is going to be a planet that we know.
Okay.
Already. I think that it's going to be somewhere where they were already fighting together against this, and that's the thing too, as well. People were saying, we don't even know if he's a bad guy. He's got a blue lightsaber and a blue lightsaber like we've never seen before, which is pretty awesome.
Looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
He looks good too, whatever his deal is. In the spirit of like, the trend of trailers being from the first couple episodes,
Right.
again, if that holds and this is all happening in the first couple episodes, then like that kind of makes sense to me that we get Anakin that early. We end the last season with him,
Mhm.
and there's no need to like hide Hayden Christensen in this show anymore, and as far as
Right.
like, promoting it. And I think it actually would not get in the way of the story if, as a chunk of the first little act to get it going, we have her talking to Anakin doing this thing, kind of tease up her, you know, her journey through the season so she doesn't have to deal with the same question later. And I almost like I don't know what's going on with this guy that you just put up, but I could see a lot of comparing like what Ahsoka's been through to what Baylan's been through, and Baylan chose the other way, or Shin chose the other way. And this guy that they fought, who, I agree with Holly, like is some kind of dark Jedi or disillusioned Jedi during the Clone Wars, like maybe Baylan was, chose to go another way, and she stopped. The two of them stopped him. Could be yet another example of like, hey, Ahsoka, here's what you've been through. Here's what you've decided to do. Whether you think so or not, whether you think so or not, or whether you name yourself this or not, you're acting like a Jedi. Keep going, or you have to choose whether you're going to go that way or not. There's a theory going around. There's a theory going around that this incident takes place based on the EU legend stories of the Clone Wars involving Bafashi Dark Jedi wielding a cyan lightsaber. Yoda was in the fray. Interesting. Very interesting. I think considering this has a classic Heir to the Empire vibe of it, about it, I think pulling other EU stuff would make sense.
Yeah. I think that we're going to get a lot more of some answers for these things, but I think it's also going to be bringing in some new stuff from Legends and the expanded universe that, sort of like we have with Thrawn and, possibly Mara Jade, next year with the new Starfighter movie. But I think it'll be, some of these things that they have brought in from Legends. I think they've done a decent job with it. I know there's some people that are going to, disagree with me, but I think that they've done a good job bringing Thrawn in from the, from Legends to where he's at. And I think with his background and with who he is, there's going to be more expanded universe brought into us from these stories.
Yeah. And
because a lot of people still know the expanded universe and we're not able to, combine them yet. And that's what this is doing. And that's what I love about, the novels and the comics and everything that's coming out now. It's all canon. So everything has to sort of tie together for the most part. Yeah, we might miss a birthday or something like that, but it's not going to implode the whole freaking, Star Wars universe because, somebody got the birthday wrong or whatever, the case may be.
Or
but
just throughout the birthday.
Right. So I think that we're going to get some more things in here and we're going to get a little bit of a change. We're going to get a change from what the Legends Thrawn was to what he is now. And I think some of these other things, so all these other things coming in are going to change a little bit as well. So, but I think that's cool. And I think Dave's doing a good job with it, which is pretty awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. Welcome back.
Hello there.
Oh, it feels great to be back. Vacation was fantastic, but it was even better when you got an Ahsoka season 2 trailer right before you go on vacation.
And then you got to work all weekend.
So we are obviously chatting about the new trailer. We watched it.
Oh,
sure.
I listened. I listened the entire time.
Okay.
Nice. Your thoughts on some of this legend stuff? Did you obviously then you heard that one that let me see if I can bring that back up again. What are your thoughts on this? And have you heard this at all?
I have heard a lot of this stuff. I don't know. I honestly think, and I think this is sort of what Nick said at the beginning of the live stream, a lot of this stuff is from the early episodes, but even stuff in the early episodes, they're going to want to keep a secret. I think there's something with that sequence that's just completely out of whack, that's not real. And I think the biggest thing, and people keep bringing it up, is the sort of exact design under his eyes, like big sort of underline under his eyes, and then it comes down into a point on either side. And that's the exact same design as the son of Mortis. Exactly that right there. So I don't think it's the son of Mortis, but there could be a connection there. That there's no other reason for him to have the exact same facial markings unless he's some sort of worshiper of the Mortis gods, possibly. Maybe he somehow finds out that, I mean, this is really crazy, but he finds out somehow that Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan were the ones who killed the Mortis gods, and he's trying to exact revenge. Like, I'm going really crazy here, but all that to say, I think there's something extremely off about that sequence, and I think it could be the first sequence of the entire show. Like, opening scene is that flashback to the Clone Wars to pretty much go, this second season is not pulling any punch. The exact same thing that we were talking about with Iman Esfandi and what he was talking about a couple weeks ago, which was season 1 was season 1 of Clone Wars, season 1 of Rebels, season 2 is season 4 of Rebels, season 7 of Clone Wars. Like, that's the big leap we're going on here. And Clone Wars flashbacks are insane. They're in the trailer. Like, they're not. If that's what they're showing us, what are they hiding from us? And we all assumed too, like we've been theorizing about this for weeks and weeks and months, years and years.
We're still going to.
Yes, but we've been theorizing this for a while. All the flashback sequences should be explaining the Mortis gods.
Right.
Nope, I disappeared. I'm gone.
Uh-oh.
This doesn't do that. This doesn't do that, at least to our knowledge, because we don't know who this guy is.
Right.
It is great to see Ariana Greenblatt back, and I did hear Nick talking about it earlier. As like, what time period is this? I don't know is my easy answer, but the closest thing we can get to is her head and the stuff around her Leku there, and that's of course not season 7. So it might be season 1 through 3. I know it changes at one point, but I'm thinking it's early Clone Wars. Early Clone Wars.
Yeah. The first
couple. I saw a thought from someone that it wouldn't exceed season 3 or 4, wherever they're at in this sort of thing. But again, like, I'm pretty sure, am I correct that the Clone Wars episodes are not even chronological anyway? So, like, in a way,
for the most part, they are, except for some of the clone stuff in season 3 or 4. I forget what it is, but some of that stuff is like a prequel to the clones, specifically Domino Squad. So it is not fully in order, but the rest of the episodes, for the most part, are in chronological order because it has all the Maul stuff in Mandalore, and it has to be in order.
I think it doesn't like pick up a little more chronologically around like 4 or 5. Because you have like actual working leanings into Revenge of the Sith, at least for our main characters.
Yes. There's definitely more of a lead up to because you have to get to Revenge of the Sith, and that's what season 7 is.
Yeah. I want to answer Zima. Zima's put this in a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I have not heard that the Thrawn trilogy has been officially announced. Like the movies.
Nowhere close, no.
Yeah. But given how this season may go, that may be where we're going. I don't know. But Mike, what do you think about, so we were talking earlier about, like, I had brought up, trailer stuff might be early scenes of the season, which means we're off to a bang immediately. So with this being potentially an opening with this Ahsoka flashback, I mean, what are you thinking as far as how this thing opens?
You mean how it opens for the flashback, or how it opens just in general?
The season, because I was Ron and I kind of
yeah,
agreed
yeah.
like they get busy if this is the case. If the trend
Oh,
holds
quickly.
about how these trailers are constructed,
Yes.
then this pops
Yeah.
up.
No. I think the entire sequence of Dathomir, I think you mentioned this too. It's not going to mess around. Like the entire, all the stuff on the Red Planet is going to happen within the first couple, or not all of it, but the majority of it that we see in the trailer is going to happen in the first couple episodes. Like you see in the trailer, they're taking Senator Ziono, you know, that douchey guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're taking him to prove to him that Thrawn is back. That's what I think's going on, because you see Hera, Ezra, and Ziono going somewhere, and then you hear Thrawn say, "I declare war on the Rebel Alliance," which is just the best. But
Yeah.
but when they get so that right there. This is them, I think, going to Dathomir to prove to him that Thrawn is back. And when they get there, they're going to be ambushed by Thrawn, and he's going to declare war on the Rebel Alliance. And that's where you see the escape pod in the trailer as well, because Hera and Ziono and I think Chopper will all be on that escape pod down to Dathomir. Ezra will be in an A-wing already in space, so he won't be a part of that. He'll probably jet into hyperspace and then go get reinforcements, and that's why he's fighting Enoch later on too. So I think to start out the season, like episode 1, maybe the first scene in the main galaxy, because I think it will start with Ahsoka. But the first scenes in the main galaxy will be them going, Thrawn's back, and the Senate going, we don't believe you. no thanks. And then they have to prove it, and while proving it, they get ambushed. Thrawn gets his first win right away, and the New Republic craps their pants and goes, "Oh my God, we're doomed." And when you have a guy coming in, and your New Republic has been recently forged, but not that recently. Like it's been a couple years, and he's calling you the Rebel Alliance. Like that's just heartbreaking. So I think it'll start with that. I think Ziono is being told who's boss by Thrawn, by that guy right there.
Yeah.
Look at that egg in the background.
How freaking awesome is this?
Yeah, the Yusel Amari. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, he knows about them, so I think it would be pretty cool for us to see.
Oh yeah.
To see them.
He's got a little drink in his hand.
Is it?
He's just chilling.
Yep. I mean, it's so accurate to what he looks like in Heir to the Empire and all that too. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just an incredible picture right there.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yep.
Lost some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sparkly new white uniform, no stains on it.
Yeah.
That's the most important part. He lost some weight.
He got ironed and pressed too on this uniform. I do, to your point, Mike, I love that he calls them the Rebel Alliance, because of course he wouldn't recognize whatever he's come right back to, you know. Do you think that'll all happen first episode? Or will that be the crescendo of the second episode and then we get it to the rest of it?
I don't know if it'll be every episode. I wonder if they'll do a 2-episode premiere, because season 1 was a 2-episode premiere.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, I think episode 1 or episode 2 will end with him going, I declare war on the Rebel Alliance. Like that'll be the big cliffhanger for week 1. If it's episode 1 or episode 2, if it's a 1-episode premiere or 2-episode premiere, that'll be the sort of the end, the start of the war. And then it's crazy because we've been waiting for years now to find out what Baylan Skoll is up to. And this trailer gives us nothing, like literally nothing. It gives us Baylan for like 2 seconds. And who knows what the hell he's doing. He like gets really mad at Shin Hati and ignites his lightsaber. Like, what is happening? I don't know. It's very focused on the Thrawn stuff, which makes me even more intrigued for the Peridia stuff and for the Baylan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more I watch it, though, I don't know if he's pissed off at her or something else is going on. as I continue to watch it more and more each time, I sort of focus in on that because that's what I was focusing in that night when we were watching it, and Mike kept me up until all hours of the night awake.
My
But
bad. My bad.
it's almost like, you know, she's calling to him and he looks over like something's going on with her, and he wants to go over and help her at some point. And again, we have so much of this trailer magic, so to speak, just like we did in Mandalorian and Grogu, that, you know, there's so many things that this has brought us. Like I said at the beginning, you know, we have so much to talk about, but there's so many things I think that the trailer magic has flipped around and dropped these things in here and there. So we still don't know what's going on. We have a little bit more of an idea with what's going on with Thrawn and the Night Sisters. And I mean, in the Night Sisters, I mean, how freaking epic did they look? You know, such a great, you know, so it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. Sort of like, you know, when we were talking about Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah. I mean, part of loving these trailers is, you know, feeling great about the obvious, you know, obviously, like take this picture here. We got Night Sisters working for Thrawn, right, as a part of their little deal that we were hoping for. And Thrawn's declaring war, all this stuff. But I never learned from the mistake, but the trailer magic is very real, people. And the frames that, you know, they give you in a certain sequence, and, you know, that even everything we might come up with for the Dark Jedi guy might be totally out the window or not matter at all, or it could be huge. You know, I've seen a lot, you guys have probably seen this, a lot of people saying that's Marok, you know. And we had a lot of thoughts about who Marok was last season. That just
I'm not falling for any of that. I am absolutely not falling for that at all. Marok is nobody. He is nothing. I don't care. He is the start to all this madness of who is under the mask, and I'm not falling for it.
Yeah, and you know, so the timing with which they show Baylan igniting the lightsaber could be totally irrelevant to, you know, what else is in the trailer or what we're thinking about. And so that's one thing I don't trust. I do trust the obvious. He's looking for something. We already know that. And he probably looks cool. Other than that, you're right. We didn't get much of him at all. Any of what's going on. Barely any of Shin. Which leads me to believe, like, that does, having the first 2-ish episodes be mostly in our galaxy, really, really helps set up the story. Thrawn gets a big win. You know, we get a lot of Ezra and Hera. Didn't get any of that other than the hug, you know, last season. We get that whole thing down. A little bit of Peridia, probably some on Peridia with the Anakin stuff, whatever. But the big start to the show is in our galaxy. We're in it, and then we work on the Peridia stuff, which is going to be like the lore heavy, you know, thought bombs, if you will.
I disagree a little bit because I think sometimes we forget the name of the show. And I think that we're going to come out with a little bit more heavy Ahsoka, I feel like, on Peridia, you know, with the whole Baylan thing. It might not be that, but I think that we're going to get a little bit, we have to get Ahsoka. We have to get a good chunk of Ahsoka because that's what the name of this show is. And I'm all for the lore, and I'm all for the, you know, the big blue meanie and everything that Thrawn's going to do and in our regular galaxy. But I think that, you know, and that's what I love about them going back and forth, just like they've done since A New Hope. You have this story going on over here, and then they scoop over to this story going on over here. And I think because of, you know, just like season 1, when we start out, I mean, she's going to find the map. And it's pretty much all based on her. And I think that's what will happen at the beginning of this. And I might be wrong, but I think because it's called Ahsoka, I think we're going to get a bunch of her, and not any less of Thrawn, because that's going to be a big part as well. I mean, it's going to be almost a 50-50 thing, but because it's called Ahsoka, I think we're going to have to get heavy Ahsoka as well in the beginning of this, you know, season 2.
Yeah. I might need to clarify what I meant, because I think you and I agree. Is that like the Thrawn stuff is the big bang, but like to me that sets up the next 6 episodes to be very Ahsoka heavy, is what I'm saying. Like, We get into the war, set the stage, big like opening, whether it's a 1 or 2 episode premiere, because there's going to be, then we have the whole show to do like prettiest stuff with Ahsoka. You know what I mean? And what better way if you're going to go Thrawn heavy to start than to have the Ahsoka stuff involve Anakin, Clone Wars flashbacks, like get us going, get us juiced up for that. So that then the majority of the show is dealing with whatever's going on out there. And then meanwhile, we have a war to come back to, like you said, you know.
Well, I still think that the entire point of season 2 is to set up this heir to the Empire stuff. Like it's all just to set up what Thrawn is doing and what he's up to. So I do think it'll be a balance of both. Hopefully a 50-50, which would be great, but it's unlikely. And some episodes are going to lean more towards Peridia. Some episodes won't. You got to remember, too, I think it was episode 6, maybe from season 1. Yeah, it's episode 6 because episode 5 is the World Between Worlds stuff, and then they jump into hyperspace. Episode 6, Ahsoka is at the very beginning, and she's not in the rest of the episode. Right. So although it is called Ahsoka, Andor was called Andor, and he's not in multiple episodes.
Right. Yeah, true.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think like we've talked about, this is possibly the end of her. Not in the mic'd way, but in hopefully a cool way to send her off, that we're not gonna see her again. This is going to be the last that we see of Ahsoka in this. So that would be cool for us to get that 50-50, but it's going to be an emotional ending to, I think, to both stories. The Thrawn story that we're going to continue to go on to for hopefully these, the movies that Dave's going to make, but then also the emotionalness of, Ahsoka being done. And especially for like Mike and myself and whoever else is a big Ahsoka fan, she's one of my favorite characters at this point. And it's just going to be crazy to not see her or think we're going to see her, in the next season of this, or, Rebels, it's going to be over with. And that's going to be a crazy, crazy emotional day, I think, for a lot of people when we figure out what's going to happen to Ahsoka in the end and what Dave has planned for her.
Yes, I do want to bring up something in the trailer, though. You have this idea that Anakin is saying to Ahsoka, pretty much saying, well, she first says she's seeing visions of a war, which first and foremost is crazy. Is she having visions of the other galaxy at this point? I don't know. Maybe she's seeing visions of a future war, which is even more crazy. Either way, she's having visions. And Anakin's response to that is Baylan Skoll is searching for a power to end all wars. So is Anakin suggesting that in order for Ahsoka to stop what she's seeing in her visions, she must acquire the power that Baylan Skoll is looking for? Like, is that what the Chosen One is saying to her now? And she is the one who can maybe stop the Thrawn stuff? Because that would change everything. This would not be the last time we see Ahsoka. She would then become the key to stopping Thrawn. And as we know, Thrawn is not in the sequel trilogy, so he goes somewhere.
Mm-hmm. It could, also be, out of context to their conversation, right? Either way, whether it's for her to get it or for Baylan not to get it, she has to stop him, right? I had a question for you guys. I'm glad you brought it up because also Nathan Traxel brought it up. So you guys, it says, what is the power Baylan discovered to end wars, and how does Anakin know this? So I'm glad he asked this. I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to talk to you guys tonight about this part. You guys already know, many of our regular listeners already know how I feel about who becomes father, son, daughter, all that kind of stuff. I've rained on everyone's parade with my opinion, but it's okay. But partially because of that, I think like this story has the opportunity, as well as more, it's Obi-Wan season 2 would be more equipped for this, but to kind of give us some vague insight on Force Ghost stuff. And we kind of have this general idea that it's presented to you at the right time There's rules to it that we'll never know, right? So the interesting thing about Anakin talking to her, like, to answer Nathan's question, I think Anakin knows, because I think all of these experiences that we as fans have with Force Ghosts, we've gotten used to it, but we forget that that's the top of the food chain.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
a Mortis god to what Anakin is now is not even close. You know, Anakin is immortal now. He's also dead, right? So, so you're a Force ghost. You literally are the Force. It's the irony of the Jedi discovering immortality, the Sith not. This whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, like, if that conversation that you just mentioned is what it looks like, and Anakin's like, Baylan said he's looking for a power. How would he not know that, is my question, right? Being sort of like omnipresent, unless he's like not allowed per Force Ghost rules to just give Ahsoka, take all of her free will and tell her. But, you know, because those visits are very much for the person seeing them and what they need to do, right?
True.
So I guess my question is, like, you know, what is the purpose? Like you asked, what is the purpose of Anakin pointing out, like, of what's there? Why wouldn't he know what it is? Why wouldn't he be able to know Baylan's intentions? Like,
it
would be weird to me to think that it was vague, given what, you know, the Force Ghost hierarchy seems to be, at least in the past.
Yeah. I mean, it's great because you're going to get a lot of explanation as to what Force Ghosts are capable of in the second season with Anakin. If Anakin doesn't know the power that Baylan's looking for, because he just says Baylan's looking for a power, if he's not telling Ahsoka, that makes it even crazier, because if Anakin has become the father, which, of course, Nick poo-pooed on our parade, but then he should know that information. Like, he should know what's behind door number 3. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe he's not, and maybe he's not yet. That could be another thing.
I think another thing to maybe look at is that there's something that Mortis is connected to that's even bigger or newer. That Mortis is kind of our connective tissue of those who know will know this is a big deal by the statues, but then it leads us to, like you said, Abeloth, or, you know, something that's kind of a big deal, because I don't know. Like you just said, I don't know how he wouldn't at least know. And what are these visions about? What are these things both Baylan and Ahsoka are feeling while they're there? But again, we have these, like, couple of lines from Anakin out of context, so you never know. But
yeah. Well, I got a really crazy theory for you. What if the flashbacks to this weird dude that we don't know who he is, who kind of has the same markings as the son from Mortis, what if the flashbacks are almost Anakin helping Ahsoka remember? If you go back to The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, when Luke is trying to help Grogu remember, he puts his hand on his head and he has these flashbacks to Order 66, remembering what happened, because he has forgotten, or at least blocked that portion off of history in his mind for some unknown reason. Still, Grogu's got a bunch of mystery behind him. What if the reason he looks so much like the son, and the reason he's a mystery to all of us, because a character like that, a fallen Jedi or a dark Jedi or somebody that looks like that, that would be known about by now. What if it's Ahsoka's memory of who the son was? She doesn't remember Mortis. She's almost replaced those memories with this. And us getting the flashback is almost like it's going to flash of, like, that's the son. Nope, it's this weird dude. No, it's the son. That's the weird. Like, flash back and forth. And Anakin's going to be like, you must remember what happened or whatever. And then she slowly remembers Mortis, as we, as an audience, slowly figure out what Mortis is. Obviously, people who've seen the Clone Wars. But for the normie fans, as Ahsoka remembers, we remember. And it's the same thing that happened in season 1 with the whole, World Between Worlds sequence. As the audience learns about Ahsoka and who she is, and that she fought in the Clone Wars, that she was trained by Anakin, so do we. So as she realizes, so does the audience. So you could do something similar where this brand new character that nobody knows who it is because he hasn't existed yet, because he's in the Clone Wars, it makes no sense for him to even exist, could be a false memory or a made up memory to cope with the fact that Ahsoka can't remember what happened on Mortis. She doesn't know what Morai is, but she should. She doesn't know that she's the daughter, but she should. So when she sees Morai in the World Between Worlds, when Ezra saves her, she goes, "That's the weird owl that follows me around. I don't know what's her deal." So
Right.
she should know that though, and she doesn't. So there's something weird with her memory that she doesn't remember what happened on Mortis, and maybe through Anakin, she's gonna have to relearn as we get to relearn too. It's crazy, but it's not as crazy as this random dude with a
Right.
crazy lightsaber that
Yeah.
splits into two. Like it's not that crazy.
I don't think it's that crazy at all, actually.
No,
It's a working theory.
Yeah. Well, and we have so much to cover now too, which will be interesting to finish this up in 8 episodes like you've talked about for a while now, Mike, is we have so
Yeah.
much to get into in this short amount of time. What are they going to be able to, deep dive into a little bit about the Mortis gods or more of this lore that we have going on in here? So you have the war going on, but you also have a lot of this lore with the Mortis gods over in Peridia that we're dealing with Shin and Baylan. And it's going to be interesting to see what Sabine, we continue to talk about Baylan and Ahsoka, but Shin and Sabine are there as well, and they're going to have something to do with it. Again, maybe possibly, maybe Shin turns into Abeloth, or Abeloth takes her, as her, host, and we figure something like that out. But also you have, Sabine fighting with this, flamethrower. So where is all this? Who is she fighting when they're doing that? Is it just those the band of bandits that Shin sort of hooked up with, or is it something else that we don't know about yet?
I got a crazy theory for you too about that flamethrower sequence where she's fighting the droid like weird dude. Do you think either Abeloth and or Baylan Skoll is the one controlling them? Because they come out of nowhere. They weren't in season 1. There was no even breadcrumbs to these people in season 1, and yet they're all there. I think Baylan Skoll is going to be like a them trying. You ever play the Zelda games? You're playing as Link and you're trying to find Zelda, and yet you never find Zelda, but she's the title character. I feel like Baylan Skoll is going off, and we're gonna just be chasing him the entire season. We'll barely even see him, but we'll be chasing him. It's possible that either he or Abeloth or whomever is in charge of these droid-like creatures, because to our knowledge, we see them fighting Ahsoka and Sabine, but we don't see them fighting Baylan. Baylan seems to have made it through just fine, but Ahsoka and Sabine are getting attacked. Doesn't make much sense.
True, but I also think that we have that, like we've talked about, the trailer magic as well, and I think we noticed some of that in the Maul series when we got some of that stuff. All of a sudden, you see different things in the background after we have gotten it. With Daki fighting off here in the distance. Is he who's he fighting? What's going on? So I think that could be a little bit of trailer magic where maybe all 4 of them are there, or even like in Mandalorian and Grogu, when they show Mandalorian and Grogu, we talked about that in the little sand hut, or that thing, and they're looking, and then all of a sudden during the movie, you pan out and Rada's up there with them, and Mando and Grogu. So we have the whole scene, and all 4 of them are looking over this sand dune. So this could possibly happen as well, because I think that those things that you're talking about could possibly be activated either by Abeloth, or again, almost like an Indiana Jones type of thing. As you're walking through, you have booby traps that are going to go on up, and now you've turned these on, these mechanical, whatever they are. So that could possibly be something as well, almost like Mandalorian and Grogu, with those 2 mechanical things sitting outside of the hut's, throne room.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we've learned anything, it's that this trailer is not telling us 100% of the truth. But it's very hard to figure out what that lie is, or what those lies are. What's really not the truth. I don't know. I don't know. There's something odd about the droid things. I don't even know if I should call them droids. They're just different. I don't know. But there's something really off about them, and I don't know what it is, because it seems like Baylan Skoll made it through pretty unscathed, and Ahsoka and Sabine are struggling with them. Maybe they're the ones who accidentally activate them. That's what that scene is with Ahsoka, accidentally activating these droids. But I don't know. I don't know. It is interesting that they are reuniting Shin and Baylan in the trailer. I thought that would be a little bit longer of a plot point, but they do it right away.
And it's, based on what we've seen thus far, like from the first season, Baylan seems to have quite the head start, right?
Yep.
So for him and Shin to be reunited, for them to be dealing with, I don't know. I think a lot of it will come down to like the point of the journey.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's also kind of like probably going to side quest train Sabine on the way a little bit, right? So there's like a lot of things that are happening all at once, which I feel like is, I think we all expected this, but it's very telling that the stuff we don't get in the trailer at all is like anything new about Peridia. But what we do get in the trailer is the official, like, Thrawn, I'm declaring war. I've clearly brought back Night Sisters, like all this kind of stuff. Like they're willing to give us, confirmation on our theories there, but like leaving the meat of the story out. So I think a lot could happen even in the first episode as to like why Baylan maybe doesn't struggle, or maybe like Ron said, it's totally trailer magic. Maybe I think we've talked about it before. There's got to be a point where they have to work together in some capacity.
Yeah.
Well,
I think too, the idea of these droids too, it's like it's Star Wars. You need an army of something. So even if you're going to introduce Abeloth, it can't just be one being, Thrawn's of course going to have the stormtroopers and the Night Sisters now, but there must have been an army if Baylan's looking for something that's going to end all wars forever, then there must be some sort of army of droids, for lack of a better word, that, are the ones who destroyed this entire galaxy. Because the Peridia galaxy is dead. Somebody went through and wiped out an entire galaxy. So clearly the power that Baylan is looking for is true and exists. It's just a matter of, can Baylan harness it? Is it actually a true, is it going to bite Baylan in the butt, or what's going to happen?
Yeah. And, this is kind of a side note, but I would also assume that sort of the mystical stuff that ties the Night Sisters and all that kind of stuff to Peridia has to do with what's going on a little bit. And I'm really looking forward to that stuff. Even if we don't get it, I think it'll be kind of apparent with whatever they find. But it almost feels like too good to be true about Abeloth. Like it's the perfect Pandora's box in Star Wars terms, something really bad is in there that isn't out anymore, that we're all going to regret chasing, but even though like it does feel also that they're doing a good job of, whether it's, beat by beat Abeloth or not, it'll be the same, it'll be adjacent, like the version of it that serves this story, right? How, we're assuming Kade from Starfighter, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, is not Kade Skywalker, spelled with a K, by the way. But is like kind of the vibe, that sort of assumption. Anyway.
We continue to talk about Thrawn, but is he going to be the biggest threat in this? If Abeloth comes to fruition, as I don't know, I would say probably 75% say that, that's going to happen in some respect there. Mike's disappearing. There's going to be some aspect of her in there, I think, with the Mortis gods, and maybe if we don't get her, we do get the rest of the Mortis gods, and figure out what's going on with that, with Anakin and Ahsoka, and that's my thing too, is how are we going to bring this to fruition, and is this going to get back to the main universe?
Well,
Because I think that could be a big thing.
I guess we're looking at two threats with Thrawn and a possible Abeloth that can't exist because of the sequel trilogy. So we know that Thrawn fails eventually, and he's not mentioned in the sequels, but that can easily be worked around. The Abeloth thing, if she gets unleashed in the main galaxy before the sequels, that'll just be far too chaotic and honestly not make sense. You'd be wasting a huge villain in a pre-sequel time period. So I think if it is Abeloth or whatever the threat may be, it's not going to be unleashed on the main galaxy, at least not yet. Not yet. And maybe in the future it does, but I guess that would be who knows how long from now. It could be the next Simon Kinberg trilogy, which would be really great, or it could be something beyond that. Either way, there's a lot of villains like looming in the backstage right now. You got the Grisk, you got this Abeloth type threat, you got now
the Nameless.
Thrawn. Oh
possibly.
yeah, you got the Nameless for sure. And now even Maul Shadowlord's introducing like a Darth Talon. You have all these just different villains waiting in the background for their moment to shine. And the post-sequels seem to be the place for that, because you're going to go from Thrawn straight into the First Order, and you don't have time to deal with all the Abeloth stuff before the sequels. So to answer your question, I suppose, I do think it is Abeloth, and there's no way that she makes it back.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you, because I also think, and that was just a question I wanted to bring up, but I think that what's going to happen is we're going to possibly get that Abeloth or the Mortis gods, but that's going to be a chapter, and I think we're going to close that chapter at the end of this, because they're not bringing Thrawn here to, okay, he's going to win in Ahsoka, and then he's going to do a movie, and then I think Thrawn's going to be around for a lot longer. So I think that he is the main threat at this point, even though if Abeloth comes to fruition, she is a more dangerous threat overall. But I think that she'll be contained, controlled, killed, whatever, the outcome of her is. But I don't think it'll come back to the main universe. And I think that it will be Thrawn from now on until we get to the First Order, which is still, quite a bit, time wise, it's quite a long time away from what we're going to get to. So I think Thrawn's going to be here for a minute, which I think is going to be awesome because of what we have of him in the expanded universe and what we have of him now. He's just like, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg with him coming back, because it was great to see him in that, but he really didn't do too much except for get the flock out of that Peridia, because he knew something was coming. So he just wanted to he wanted to roll. So again, we know what he's capable of from Rebels and other things that we've seen him in or heard about him in these books. So I think this could be he is going to be the bigger threat, so to speak, even though maybe he's not as powerful as Abeloth, but I don't think that she's going to make it to the regular universe.
Yeah. And I agree on all fronts with you guys, especially the not returning to the galaxy part, but also just from like the feels or the eye test of how this could all run. If we're right and this is the send off of Ahsoka, then whatever she's doing on Peridia gets at least somewhat resolved. She's not going to go out of these stories in vain, right? She's either going to win or do the right thing or whatever, which is why I'm a little hesitant overall to like put my stamp on it's for sure Abeloth, but it's obviously a huge threat like Abeloth, Yeah. And then shoot, I forgot what I was going to say, but I'll think of it later. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
It was a question for you, but
what
I had a great answer to it too.
I know you did. That's why I wanted to ask it.
Why do you think Anakin is asking Ahsoka about being a Jedi?
Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. I mean, she hasn't been a Jedi in probably 40 years, or maybe not 40, but close to at least, 30 years, 33-ish, give or take. It's been a while. It's been a really long time since she's been a Jedi, so the question at hand is very odd. Very odd.
But is he asking her younger? Again, that could be trailer magic. Is he asking her when they're doing, when she's this age? Is he asking her now about being
Yeah, I
a
mean,
Jedi?
I guess in the trailer, all you see his, you
You
see
see
him
him
say
saying
or
or
not,
not.
at least. I
Yeah.
don't know. Might be some trailer magic for sure. That would be interesting.
I thought it was weird because I kind of felt like we sort of resolved that last season, like her feelings on the matter. So I wonder
Yeah.
like what that conversation relates to.
Yeah, so I think Ron probably hit the nail on the head that it could be part of the flashbacks because
Mhm.
obviously that would be a question being asked to young Ahsoka for sure.
Yeah. I remember what I was going to ask. Ron, do it. Ron, you brought it up that eventually in the chat's talking about the time frame between this and episode 7. I don't know, but like we're not right up on first order time yet. But sorry if you hate this idea, you two, and anyone in the chat. But I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Like whether you liked him or not, like Snoke becomes a household name prior to The Force Awakens. Enough to like strike fear in people, that sort of thing. I do think it would serve continuity and sort of like give scale to the thing to eventually, not in this season, obviously, but like eventually wherever this goes with Thrawn, he's going to have to run into whatever becomes of the First Order, which at some point, I don't know when, is headed publicly by Supreme Leader Snoke. I mean, even Benicio del Toro, DJ, the Codebreaker, knows that it's Snoke's ship and knows who Snoke, like household fearsome name. So whether that's Thrawn saying, I don't like these guys, and the Shadow Council still can't get their stuff together and decides to First Order it instead of Thrawn it, or however it works out, they eventually run into Snoke. Now, has Thrawn lost or beat it before then? Or is that some friction that we get, Heir to the Empire
Honestly,
style, where he gets backstabbed,
I was thinking that. Because in Heir to the Empire, it's sort of the Nogri that it's Rook that stabs him in the back.
Mhm.
The Nogri aren't here anymore. Rook is actually already dead at this point in the timeline. So I love the idea that Thrawn is maybe thinks he's going to win, or maybe he is going to win, and sort of the First Order or the beginnings of the First Order, Snoke, anybody, honestly, like Snoke and whoever else, they show up and Thrawn's like, and here's my reinforcements, and then they kill him, like, instead.
Mhm.
That would be really cool. I'd love to see Thrawn go down to the thing that he created. I still want him to be very instrumental in the creation of the First Order, but sort of he did so well that it kills him, like he does it so well. He's so good at his job that it's the thing that eventually ends his life. And I think that would work really, really well to not only, be a good ending for Thrawn, but also to set up Snoke. Because if Snoke's the one who kills Thrawn, then you're like, okay, there's always a bigger fish type deal. And it's almost like, the rule of two to an extent. Like the master always kills the apprentice. So if Palpatine's the one who killed Plagueis, then oh my god, Palpatine must be even better. So if Snoke kills Thrawn, then you're going to be like, okay, Thrawn was pretty badass. Snoke's going to be even more crazy, and he's shooting lightning bolts out of his fingertips. So he must be pretty cool. I think it would be great to see Thrawn be the reason the First Order rises, but also the reason that he falls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be so ironic, and such a great twist in that. Because I also think that at some point, hopefully, even like we were talking about, we've just finished up, was it What's the book that we just read?
Legacy.
Yeah,
Legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah.
You know, but
God, is Legacy good?
yeah, it's very good. But I also,
Yeah.
as good as that was, I think it would be great to see, sort of how Snoke does become to power, and
Oh, yeah.
and get something in a book or in a comic or even a Tales or something. But I almost think with us getting Snoke's story, I feel like a live action would be better for that. But I
for
think it would be hard to reinvent or recreate him the way that they did in the movies. With
Well,
it would have to be CGI, I think, but I also
yeah.
think it would just be interesting how they would what they would do to bring him to where he was at when we first meet him with Kylo.
Yeah.
Because he is such a big, like Nick said, he's a household name. So he has risen to power even more than, or at least the same as Thrawn, which I think would be incredible to see something, to give a little bit more of. Hopefully we would get to see behind the scenes and how he was sort of created or where he sort of came from, but then the general public knows him as the supreme leader as he comes out. But that obviously that's a story for a different day.
Yeah, you already see in the Mandalorian season 3 this fracturing inside the remnant of the Empire. You have the Shadow Council meeting where it's just a bunch of Imperial warlords arguing with each other. So when Thrawn returns, Hux's dad, I suppose, who's in charge of Project Necromancer, is going to want no part in that. He's going to stay off doing his own thing with Project Necromancer and just, Thrawn is not going to want anything to do with Ilum and Starkiller Base. He is very much anti the Death Stars of it all. So there's still going to be that fracturing of power in the remnant of the Empire. So while Thrawn's going, I declare war on the Rebel Alliance, there's going to be pockets of Imperial remnant that go, we don't want any part in this. We didn't say that. He said that. That was not us. Don't blame me. And they're going to be silently building up in the background, and Thrawn's going to play his hand way too out in the open, and that's when he's going to get stabbed in the back. And I think to answer I guess what you were talking about is how much time we have. You have plenty of time to do an entire Thrawn trilogy. And then at the very end of this said trilogy is when Snoke comes in. And it could be a happy and a sad, or a victory and a defeat at the same time. Victory and death, like the Clone Wars, how the Clone Wars ends. You could have it, the good guys win, Thrawn's dead. Great job. But now the First Order is here and Snoke is here. But at the same time, Luke Skywalker is building up his Jedi Temple. One of the last frames could be from afar of Luke's Jedi Temple. Then you see like a young Ben Solo running around. And it could feel like a hopeful ending while also being, we know, I think, we know what happens there. It's almost like watching the prequels after already knowing what happens to Vader. You already know when you see young Anakin on Tatooine in the Phantom Menace that kid turns into Darth Vader. So you're just waiting for it to happen. And I think this trilogy, if it does become a trilogy, could do the same thing.
Yeah, and like you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. All this stuff we're talking about is like post Ahsoka, right? Like, I think we all don't think Thrawn's end is at the end of Ahsoka. But we've talked about it before. I think TIE fighters that can jump to hyperspace and hyperspace tracking, all these things that the First Order have Thrawn's fingerprints all over him, or at least could. It just seems like such a Thrawn thing and all these advancements. And so he could be helping to make this thing in like his image. Obviously, Starkiller is not up his alley. But like it could be a blend of both. He's the reason for it, and it's the reason for his departure, like you said. And I wonder too, like the Imperial remnants know at minimum the legend of Luke Skywalker. Thrawn does not, right? Like Thrawn doesn't know what any of that is. He knows the name, he knows the last name, right? Does he in Ahsoka as he's a current events and history buff, read about that and go, well, this changes things? Or does that frighten the Imperial remnant from helping him out, knowing that might be waiting for them? Do we get a Luke Skywalker mention in Ahsoka season 2? Do we see him at any point in this Heir of the Empire stuff? I don't know. But anyway, he's never heard of that guy or everything that he's done. Like, he is the most legendary person in the galaxy right now, right? And is the, sort of deciding factor to all galactic events. So what does that do to him? Like, there's no way he shows back up. The Thrawn that I know shows back up and doesn't take inventory of what's going on. And what side of the fence are these guys on? If the New Republic, obviously the Imperial remnants are hiding from the New Republic, not realizing maybe how weak it is, or taking directives and, necromancer, whatever. But like this Thrawn stuff, he obviously is not afraid of them. He's like, all right, I'm back. We're doing this thing. Yeah. And, where does the Luke Skywalker of it all fit into that? He was a little shocked to find out that Ahsoka's trained by Anakin. Yeah. Imagine you find out that he had a kid, and he just destroyed the whole thing, kind of. And I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. When I was about to mention that too, when Thrawn finds out that Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan, he like freaks out and goes, "We got to get out of here." And you hopefully will get to see a similar reaction when he finds out about Luke. I honestly think the person he's going to find out about, I guess, maybe he won't. You're right that Thrawn should be able to be the one who figures it out. And I think Leia could be the one that he figures it out with, because Leia's more involved with the New Republic and with the actual Senate and all that. And Luke's not. Luke's just off doing his own thing. So maybe he finds out about Leia first, and that Leia is the daughter of Vader, and then gets to Luke after the fact. You got to think, though, if he finds out about Luke, then he will want to deal with that pretty quickly. So maybe he goes to Osis or something and tries to attack Luke Skywalker. I don't know.
Well, in the Leia of it all is, bloodline is where the general public learns, right? Yeah. She's kept it a secret. Close people may not even know. She hates it. So I feel like we're very much pre-bloodline like right now. Yeah. If Thrawn could somehow figure it out in some way, and that be like a threat to Leia, and kind of put a fire under her to be like, we're beating this guy. I mean, sign me up.
Imagine. Like, how great it was in the trailer when he goes, "I declare war on the Rebel Alliance." Imagine if he's talking to Leia Organa like over a holo message or something, and he goes, "I know who your father was." Like, how crazy that would be.
Yeah. Like almost like blackmail that he doesn't need, but just trying to like push her buttons and see what she'll do.
Yeah.
He pulls an Ahsoka and goes, "So much like your father."
Oh yeah. Yeah. Jan said Bloodline's 19 years later, so you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Till First Order.
I want to switch gears, but stay with Ahsoka. With what do you think the time jump is in this? I think that's her hair grows out pretty quick, and it turns a different color.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
color thing. Yeah, the color thing could be pretty quick, but the length is definitely something to. It could be a few weeks, could be a few months. I don't think it's any drastic period of time, like a couple of years or anything. But it's definitely since the events of Ahsoka, season 1, Skeleton Crew has happened, and The Mandalorian and Grogu has happened. So at least a couple of weeks or months have gone by since season 1 of Ahsoka, which makes sense because Baylan's already up on the snowy mountaintop, and he's already figuring it out. And Ahsoka is sort of still trying to figure out why she's even there in the first place. But not too much time will have passed, because immediately you'd think that Ezra, Hera, and Xiono would go right after Thrawn. So maybe that takes a couple weeks, maybe it takes a couple months, but that's at most as much time has passed.
Well, and that's why I think, because then we have this one, because obviously this is going to be pretty quick after they get back. which I think, reuniting with each other, saying hello. They haven't seen each other. Well, shit, they haven't seen each other in 11 years.
Yep.
Since Ezra's gone. So it'll be interesting to see if something does change in the timeline, because this, to me, this scene right here is pretty much he boards the ship. Hera and everybody there, sees him come off. He takes his stormtrooper helmet off. Chopper goes and greets him, and we pretty much end it right there. Where if Zeb is on the base or on the ship or wherever they are, this is literally probably minutes afterwards. So how far, are we going in that direction? And then you have, that picture of Sabine, with her hair, this different color and longer. Sorry, I hope I didn't get everybody sick by switching those pictures like that. But so it'll be interesting, and I think this is going to be a cool story on what happens on Peridia before we even get to Baylan and Shin or the Abeloth or the Mortis gods. We're going to have something going on, because I think at some point, I think you had mentioned it, I don't remember where we saw it, but they're beating up on the little guys that are in the rocks. They're like kicking their ass too, and it's like, wait a minute, you guys are towering over these things, and so that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, because there's so much going on in both of these worlds, which, like you said, Mike, that to explain all of this stuff and get through these things, it's going to be interesting to see how they do it without doing it in 2 more seasons of this, which they could do. You could drag this out in a good way for season 3 and season 4 of Ahsoka if we wanted to.
Yeah. I do disagree with you though on the whole Zeb thing. I think that happens in Max Rebo actually is saying exactly what I was thinking. That Zeb is gonna lead the rescue for Hera. So I think it won't be till episode 3 at least. Zeb's off doing the Mandalorian and Grogu stuff, and then this is gonna sort of maybe take place at the same time or right after. And when Hera and Ezra and Xiono go to Dathomir to find out if Thrawn is back, then they find out that they get attacked by Thrawn, and then the escape pod jettisons and Ezra escapes, and they have to go do the rescue mission. That's when I think that the 2 of them meet back up and do the whole meeting thing. So actually, Holly brings up a great. You want to pull that up right there? Think we'll be seeing our boy Agent Callus in this second season.
That would be.
I mean, where
cool.
He must be somewhere. Where is this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has to be somewhere. And I wonder who could play him? Who would be a good Callus? There's a couple different people that I think would be a good Callus, but it would be cool to have him come in and help out a little bit, because we don't have Fulcrum's gone on Peridia now, and he was Fulcrum at one point, but I think that would be cool to bring him in.
Or how about Rod of the Hutt? Rod of the Hutt was just with Zeb at the end of Mandalorian and Grogu. Imagine true. Rada and his father reunite with Ezra Bridger. That would be crazy.
Yeah. Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
And staying on Ezra, we got some really cool pictures with him in this, fighting with like you said, Enoch with that new Night Sisters sort of saber that he has. Being on Dathomir, the top picture there is pretty awesome. And then him in his helmet, flying around, because I think we forget that, he's not a bad pilot. We don't see him flying that much, but it'll be fun, I think, and interesting to see him, in this series, because just as we've talked about in the past few weeks, and he's even, said that there's going to be a lot more Ezra in this, which I think is going to be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, season 1 you barely get Ezra because he's only in the last couple episodes.
Right.
The idea that he's gonna, be swinging a lightsaber versus, I love the Night Sister blades. All that stuff is so cool. I know we got very little bit of it at the end of season 1 with Morgan Elsbeth, but this is so much better. Like, this is so freaking cool. and it makes Enoch so much better. Somebody brought up the comparison of Phasma, and I thought it was great because Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have done it time and time again, but sort of quote unquote fixing the sequel trilogy and doing things that they never did, giving us Luke Skywalker in his prime or whatever. This is another one where Captain Phasma is a very similar character to an Enoch, and Phasma starts out with this very great potential in The Force Awakens and then does nothing for the rest of the trilogy. Enoch is going to be the same thing. Great potential in the first season. Second season, they're giving him a freaking blade that glows, and it's going to be awesome, and they're going to make him as good as we want him to be and sort of, quote-unquote, fix the sequel trilogy. But, yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, that's going to be so great.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm going to try to be interested to see who, I'm going to put a poll up here and who thinks, actually, just to ask you guys, do you guys think that we'll see Agent Kallus in this? That's a great question, Holly. Who thinks that we'll see Agent Kallus in season 2 of Ahsoka?
There's a lot of who could we possibly see, as you guys, of course, answer that. Kallus Rex is a big one. Cal Kestis, of course. Shout out to Derek, who's not here tonight, but he's here in Cal Kestis' spirit. Cal Kestis, of course. Marin, who's a Night Sister. Asajj Ventress, who's a Night Sister.
Anyone from the rest of the Mandoverse.
Also true. Obi-Wan Kenobi in a flashback, possibly. Yeah, so Din and Grogu or Rod of the Hutt. Yeah, there's so many possible appearances that would make complete and total sense. It's just a question of, did they go there? Did they give us that?
Right. I think regardless, given the expected Thrawn wins that are going to lay pretty heavy losses to the New Republic sort of section of it, I think out of those ashes comes whatever ends up becoming the Resistance of all the coolest of the cool, the Heras, the Zebs, the Leia, the Carson Tevas, Akbar, all the people who are legit for defending against Thrawn and not poo-pooing it are out of these huge wins are going to create, a Delphi-based Resistance type deal. And I think anyone that you could associate in that is up for grabs as to who could make an appearance. And Kallus is, to me, strikes me as one of those people, right?
Yep.
So
I do like the idea, and I mean, it sucks for the characters, but that yes, Ezra, Hera, the Ghost Crew, and Kallus and them, they're the ones who create the Resistance. And it sucks for them because, they already went through a war, give them a break, but their entire lives are just going to be wars for the rest of time, I suppose. But either way, I think they will be the ones who establish the Resistance so that when you see the Resistance in the sequel trilogy, you go, oh my God, they're the ones who started that. It's the same thing like when you watch the originals now and you're like, Luthen, let's go. And Luthen didn't exist up until, whatever it was, 5 years ago. And he's one of the best characters now. So you can do that again with the sequel trilogy where you can establish the Resistance with fan favorite characters like Ezra and Hera, etc. If Hera survives, of course, but we'll see about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a poll up there. So if you guys, like we said before, for this one, you have to put up the 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it'd be interesting to see what everybody has up here. Yeah. What do you guys think that we're going to see a lot more of Ezra in this as we continue to go on, and will we see more of him in that Thrawn trilogy if we get it?
Yeah, I think Ezra's going to be one of the main
to be around for a while
heroes in this entire thing. I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be the one who takes down Thrawn, as we talked about earlier. I think it'll be friendly fire, but Ezra and Thrawn have this, they were the ones stranded for 11 years together. He is the key to taking him down eventually, I think.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool to see Ezra grow even more, especially in this, as we've actually seen him Iman Asfandi grow in the last 3 years,
Oh,
which
yeah.
which is pretty cool, and for him to continue to grow up even more as an adult now, because when I think of Ezra, even as we get towards the end of the Clone Wars, I mean, he's gone, and how old is he when he's gone? But he's gone for 11 years. I mean, he's an adult now when he
Yeah.
comes back. So it's interesting to see him like that, and acting a little bit more mature at this point, because he is an adult. He's lived away with these little dudes for the last 11 years, again, still training in the Force, or trying to figure out, a little bit more of the Force while he's gone away. But for him to come back now as an adult, I think is cool to see his transition into what he's going to be. And we only get to see him for a few episodes, in Ahsoka, but I think his potential is going to be a tremendous change in season 2, which he's talked about a little bit, more. But I think it's going to be a significant change in his powers and his maturity as we see him in Ahsoka season 2.
Do you, I completely agree. Do you want to bring up Max Rebo's latest comment, actually? This is very interesting.
That's great. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Do you think Thrawn knows Ezra returned with him? He must. Baylan's ship just leaves his Star Destroyer. You don't think he would notice that? Like, a ship just pulling away. It would show up on the scanners. So he knows. He absolutely knows. But I think he's using him as bait. He's going, go, Ezra. Go bring your New Republic right back to me so I can absolutely destroy you. And
put him in my lap.
Yeah. He knows. He 100% knows.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew leaving Peridia. No. I think he knows when to get there. Yeah.
Because he could have easily just blown him out of the sky, and he didn't.
Yeah.
What do you think? This is. I like these 3 pictures. I know we've already seen the one on the bottom, but I think it's interesting, that Xiono's sitting there or standing there right next to her as Thrawn returns to the. Because this is Thrawn returning. Is that correct?
I mean, yes and no. I think they have just arrived over Dathomir, and these ships are pulling out of hyperspace. The coolest thing about this, though, is none of those are the Chimera. Those are 2 Imperial cruisers, and then 1 Star Destroyer that is not the Chimera. So Thrawn has already assembled sort of a fleet that we just don't know about yet. There's a shot in the trailer where Thrawn, it's a sort of the back of Thrawn, and you can see out the windows, and there's like 4 Star Destroyers in front of him. And you're like, how the hell did Thrawn get all of this so quickly?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big question. If they arrive on Dathomir and these 3 light cruisers come out of hyperspace, and one of them's a Star Destroyer that isn't the Chimera, I mean, what the hell's going on? How is he that powerful that quickly? Where did he get this army from? It's pretty much just a big old Carson Teva was right slap in the face to the New Republic, because he's been telling them for forever now, telling us as the audience, that the Empire is up to something greater in the unknown regions, or in the Outer Rim, sorry. And the New Republic just won't listen to him. And now he's going to be like, haha, told you so.
Yeah. And Holly's absolutely right. That's at least Pelian's fleet, right?
Yes,
like
Pelian for sure.
The first person who's going to come help him out is Pelian, like without a doubt. And so, if Pelian's fleet comes in, helps him, they kick ass. And then some other Shadow Council people say, like, you know what? That was a good showing. I'm gonna hop on with you. Then the next time our heroes come see them, it's even larger. Or they,
yes,
it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, he's gonna grow quickly, because the New Republic this entire time has underestimated the remnant of the Empire, and they don't know the Shadow Council exists like we do. They don't know that Pelion is waiting for Thrawn's arrival. They just have no idea. So when Ezra goes to the New Republic and says Thrawn's back, he's got 1 single Star Destroyer, and that's it. They're going to go, okay, and bring the reinforcements that they think they need for 1 Star Destroyer to prove to Xiono that Thrawn is back, and to take Thrawn out very quickly and easy, like nothing ever happened. And then 3 more ships come out of hyperspace, and they go, holy crap, we're doomed.
Mm-hmm. Do you think by the end of Ahsoka, where do you think the Shadow Council situation will be at? I have some
divided.
thoughts, but I'm curious. Yeah.
Absolutely divided as it was and will always be. And I think it does lead to Snoke being on one side as sort of a two-headed snake with Snoke on one side and Thrawn on the other, which
Could
would be awesome.
Yeah, I
could
think
it?
it falls apart a little bit, but it
Yeah.
goes to 2 different sides like that. I think, yeah, you'll have people that are gonna take Snoke's side, and you're gonna have people that are gonna take Thrawn's side, and obviously, we know that whether he wins or not, Thrawn's not around,
Mhm.
Snoke is.
So do you think that like, I think we get the gist that based on what ends up happening and the fact that Corpse Palpatine is at least informing somebody to inform Hux of like what to do. Because if I'm not mistaken, Hux is the one who mentions Necromancer, or it's mentioned that Hux is overseeing,
Yes.
the deal there. And Hux also has the Praetorian Guard, which eventually serves Snoke, obviously. They seem to ask him for resources, so he's got a pretty deep pocket compared to them, whatever. Could Thrawn get so good that Hux then kind of like asks whoever his middleman is to say, like, I need something. Like, I need something. We can't do the First Order thing yet. These other plans you have, Starkiller Base isn't ready. I need something. And so, in the midst of trying to make Necromancer they're like, they're like, well, we made this abomination. We call him Snoke.
Yeah.
See how it goes. I don't know, but if we're in this scenario where Thrawn is clearly the heir to the Empire, but the Palpatine of it all might not see it as something that can stick around long term, like, we know that end of the Shadow Council wins out. And so do we do like a take 3 of Battle Jakku, Operation Cinder, and now we do it again with Thrawn and like wipe the board clean and make the good guys think they won and then eventually announce the First Order? Like, how seems like something like that would have to happen. Or Thrawn just says, I'm out. Starkiller's a dumb idea.
Yeah. You guys are idiots.
And when he decides he's out, he fights his way out of them and runs into like, all right, I guess we got to try the Snoke thing, and that that's what does it. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know. I see the Shadow Council as definitely butting heads, and it'll be interesting if they even mention the Shadow Council in this second season. We got a lot of, or not a lot, but we got some alone time with the bad guys in Mando season 3, which was the Shadow Council meeting, of course, and a little bit of some other Moff Gideon scenes. I wonder if we'll get some alone time with Thrawn. So, like, sort of getting his perspective on what he's up to type deal. I think we will. We got a little bit of it in season 1, but where you have the Ahsoka perspective, you have the Baylan perspective, you have the Rebels crew perspective, then you also have the Thrawn side. And seeing him assemble all that stuff and seeing him, we could get a mention of the Shadow Council. We could get a mention of Starkiller Base. We could get a mention of Hux and Project Necromancer, because he's going to know about all of that. Pelion will tell him immediately. So if we get a conversation that's just filled with Easter eggs like crazy, of Pelion recapping Thrawn on what's happened, and maybe he mentions Luke Skywalker, maybe he mentions Necromancer and Starkiller Base, that would be, first of all, really great for us, but it would be really informing for a lot of people.
And obviously, a lot of that is way down the line, like not right now. But I'm just saying, like the setup of this season is, Thrawn being there might make things actually kind of worse for the Shadow Council's agreement issues than to solve them, because it didn't seem like anyone but Pelion was stoked about the idea of waiting for him, So
yes, but that's again showing the disagreements of all of the Shadow Council members. Moff Gideon, he gets Grogu, and he's supposed to turn Grogu and Dr. Pershing over to Hux, and he doesn't. Instead, he makes his own clones because, like, I'm going to do this myself. So they're all just fighting for power, and that'll eventually be the reason that they all fail, or that the First Order rises and the rest of them fail. But somebody brought it up. I think it was KG. Half of them are like gone now. Moff Gideon's dead.
Mhm.
The guy at the beginning of the Mandalorian and Grogu, I think Commander Barrow, he's dead. Commander Coin
Coin.
is captured, not dead but captured. So
Mhm.
they're dropping like flies. Hux and Pelion seem to be, as you mentioned, Nick, the two that have the most money and resources.
Mhm.
But everybody else around them is dropping very quickly. So it's going to become just two opposing forces going head to head instead of 9 people in a room arguing with each other. It'll just be 2. And it'll be Hux and Pelion, and then it'll be Snoke and Thrawn.
Yep. I'm gonna drop this. Obviously, Rex. Most people think that Rex is
Wow.
gonna
Rex
be
for the win. There. That's
Flashback, right, guys?
It
yeah,
could be
which would
flashback.
be awesome.
Would love a bearded
Yeah.
post
Old.
Endor Rux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
nice.
want to, because I know we're going to be talking about Ahsoka for a while, and hopefully we'll get another trailer as well. But I do want to get to a little bit of Zero Company, and then also some of the stuff that we did with Starfighter. So with Zero Company, and maybe Mike, you can tell. I don't know if Nick, if you've looked into that at all, or these games or anything. What's the relation that I'm seeing here with Zero Company and the Clone Wars?
Well, so Zero Company is a campaign game, so there's a story. And
Okay.
the story is entirely canon and entirely set in the Clone Wars era. So the idea is Zero Company, the name is the name of a special ops group. So it's Zero Company is their name. And it's a bunch of these different characters, some clones, some like bounty hunter, former bounty hunter people, whatever. It's like bringing together a special ops group. And you have to go on this mission. You're going to see Anakin in the game. You might see, like, there's a red lightsaber in the trailer. We don't know who it is. Could be Asajj Ventress, could be Dooku. We don't know. But it does take place in the Clone Wars, and it is a canon story. So people are saying we might get some more information about the Clone Wars era. We've already gotten a mention in a trailer about Pong Krell. So there's going to be a bunch of different mentions of different characters and cool little Easter eggs to the Clone Wars in this game. It just happens to be a video game. It's still telling a story in Star Wars. It just happens to be the story of a game.
Okay. So, and I'm sure Derek would yell at me for not playing it, but I'll watch once it comes out, I'll watch the whole story about it, which will be pretty cool.
Honestly, I'm
with you, Ryan.
probably going to do the same thing. I'm not a big turn-based tactics game, which is the version that the type of gameplay that this is. So I will probably be on the same boat watching the cutscenes. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, KG. Her birthday was yesterday, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So Starfighter. I'm not saying anything else.
Should we not though?
Huh? Yes, it's my birthday today.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The maker.
The maker.
I wasn't going to say anything. That's when you get as old as me, it's another day.
Yeah, 39. Crazy.
39. Oh, I was going to say 29. My bad.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
39 plus 20. So
happy birthday, Ron.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Like Nick was saying, actually, I think at the beginning, I thought it was sort of cool that they have spelled Kade with a K, because we have Kade with a C in the expanded universe. So, and obviously we don't know what that last name is, and I think we'll get that at some point and figure out, sort of what his descendancy is, because it looks like with this, I thought that was just such a badass jacket. And again, I sort of thought this from the beginning when they were talking about him, being some sort of pilot, and I didn't think it would be a rebel. I thought it would be like, whatever the bad guys are at this point, because we really don't have a bad guy right now, right? Because this is 5 years after Snoke and Kylo. So we don't have a bad guy yet. So who is he flying for? Obviously, it's not the rebels or the new, it's not the good guys at this point. And I think that's why he has some regrets, sort of like Finn did, where he's, they're telling him to kill people and he doesn't want to do that, and he was taken as a child. So I think Ryan Gosling's character is going to be possibly fighting or doing some sort of maybe smuggling or maybe some not so nice things, and he sort of regrets that, and now he's going to come back and help his nephew or his sister's son get back onto the right track.
Yeah, I do like the logo quite a bit, and in the interviews you're hearing Sean Levy talk about how it is 5 years after everything. There is no villain, or there's no grand empire or first order. There's new droids, there's new ships, and he's like, it was a Star Wars fan's dream because he got to create all this stuff, and you see a new looking droid in the trailer. You're getting a new Starfighter with the title of the movie. It's really cool. Just the premise of the time period in the galaxy. It's like the Acolyte. When we were going back 100 years, we were like, I can't wait to see what the droids looked like and the ships looked like and how everything was different. Now you're 5 years after the sequels and everything is different yet again. You do see some shots from that leaked trailer of like a group of people shooting at a starfighter, and you're like, well, who are those group of people if not stormtroopers or the First Order or the Resistance? Like, who are these people? And so it adds a lot of mystery for sure when it comes to this Starfighter movie. And what do you guys think about this trailer not being released publicly? Obviously, they probably didn't want to overshadow the Ahsoka trailer, but at some point in the probably next month, they're going to have to release the full-on trailer for this movie because The Mandalorian and Grogu's marketing started all the way back in September of last year. So at some point, Starfighter is going to have to start marketing this movie.
My thing is what we saw, is that it? Because if it is, we really didn't get much. So I wonder if there's another one, or they're going to add on to this one, because it's a cool premise. I love seeing that, him coming out, the old, I told you not to touch anything, and what is this? And it's it's the baddest MF and freaking ship that's out there right now, and it's declassified because it's such a badass ship. So is there more to that? Hopefully, because if that's it, I'm going to be a little disappointed in it, because I mean, it was cool, but what was it, 30 seconds, if that
definitely not even teaser length,
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. I think you're both right. Like, I don't think that was it for like when we get a public trailer. I don't think it's going to be that one. I think that will make up whatever percentage of the trailer, though. Like that we will have seen that, and then there'll be an extra minute, of other stuff. To your point about who he is or what he is, I've kind of had the same thoughts as Nathan here, that Kade essentially has the opposite character development as Han Solo. Like, starts with the at this timeline it'd be like Resistance, maybe.
Yeah.
Very young New Republic or old New Republic, whatever you want to call it, and then becomes his own thing, and maybe is like kind of not that great a guy, and either went to Exegol as like his big moment and it was super traumatic, or didn't go and regrets it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but I agree that it's very pirate-ish, almost like I said, opposite of Han Solo, opposite of Poe, opposite of anyone like that, starting on the straight and narrow and going the other way.
Yeah, I like that a lot too, because you don't want just a retelling of Han Solo, obviously. We already have Han Solo. So something the opposite would, like you said, going down a darker path would be cool. And then this kid, of course, kind of putting him back on track, so to speak. I do like and you guys were talking about the teaser trailer itself. It was definitely not like an official trailer, like we got for The Mandalorian and Grogu was like 2.5 minutes long. It gave us so much information about what this movie was going to be about. You got to see Rada, you got to see Zeb, you got to see all these characters. This didn't give us any of that. We know for a fact that Tom Cruise flew in on his helicopter and filmed a lightsaber duel in the mud. We've heard leaks about a new Jedi temple with Amy Adams wielding a lightsaber, with Mia Goth wielding a lightsaber, and Aaron Pierre wielding a lightsaber. We got none of that in that trailer. Honestly, we got nothing in that trailer. Like, yes, you got a good look at that Starfighter, but that was it. The only intriguing, or not intriguing, but the only really, really cool, like, I was questioning what the hell was happening was the planet where they're going across on like a sailboat speeder across this water, which was clearly what they were filming on the Mediterranean Sea. And there's these huge columns of water going up into the sky.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell was that? That was really cool. But an official trailer is going to give you those lightsabers. It's going to give you the tease that there's a Jedi Order. It's going to give you all these different characters and their little spotlights of, oh my God, Amy Adams is in this movie. Oh my God, Matt Smith is in this movie. Oh my God, Mia Goth is in... That trailer just gave us Ryan Gosling and Flynn Gray. And they looked great, but that was it. And an official trailer will have to give you so much more. So much more. Especially if you want people to get excited for this movie. You're going to have to go... You have to come see this in theaters because it's just so good.
And that's my thing. I'm interested to see what they will do with Mia Goth and and Smith's character, because I want to see what they look like.
Yeah.
And is are they gonna be in their human form, or are they gonna be alien? And that's gonna be the thing to see whether Matt Smith or Mia are actually humans, or are we turning them into something else, or maybe a humanoid like, but whatever, pointy ears or an antenna or something. But that's where I'm sort of curious to see if they will show us, say, Mia Goth if she's not human. Are we gonna see Mia Goth as whatever creature she's gonna be?
Yeah, they're gonna have to tee it up and tease like who these people are. And you're not going to have an entire cast, even though the cast is very, loaded. It's not going to be an entire cast of characters without an alien in it. The originals had Chewbacca and droids. The prequels had Jar Jar Binks. The sequels had BB-8 and plenty of other aliens involved. It's not going to just be every single actor and actress in this movie is going to be human. So maybe the villains are. I got a feeling that Amy Adams is going to be playing Amy Adams, but you could see characters like Daniel Ings in this movie or whatever playing aliens for sure.
Well, we're even forgetting who's the guy that's in Lanterns. We got a couple other, we got a couple other pretty decent size names and cast members that are going to be in this as well. So yeah, you're right. I don't think we're going to see all of them all at once, but they definitely do need to beef up that marketing so that you get to see maybe Mia Goth in her costume and some sort of lightsaber duel. Maybe it's literally a second or half a second with Amy Adams in her with a lightsaber in her hand, so that people are like, oh yeah, we got to go see this.
That is literally all you need. Think about the Last Jedi trailer where Rey uses the Force and grabs Kylo's lightsaber and activates it. Like, that alone got people so hyped up for that movie, and it's just a 2-second clip. So all you need is just a lightsaber being tossed into someone's hand and it igniting, and that'll just get people going. I do want to say too, I think the reason for the lack of Starfighter trailer and even the Starfighter trailer that got leaked out being so minimal is they did not want to overshadow Ahsoka Season 2.
Absolutely.
Ahsoka Season 2 is hard to overshadow. Of course, Anakin, Clone Wars flashbacks. There's some really great stuff going on there. But if the Starfighter leaked trailer that wasn't even released publicly was better than it, then it would have been the entire conversation is not about Ahsoka. It's about Starfighter now. And Ahsoka gets completely swept under the rug. You've been seeing Lucasfilm posting over the last couple days since the Ahsoka trailer has come out with more sort of clips of the same scenes, but just like utilizing the trailer to promote it even more and more and more. and you would not have seen any of that if the Starfighter trailer was better. So I think they're just giving Ahsoka the time to breathe so that whenever Starfighter starts promoting, because Ahsoka's still, like, January 20th is close, but it's not that close. They've got
Right.
plenty of time to start marketing Starfighter.
Well, and more importantly for them, it's probably too early to do it with a movie everyone in the world seems like they're seeing, which is Spider-Man. But they're going to be playing that whatever feature trailer they land on in December for Doomsday and probably before Dune as well.
Yeah.
So, that's all. It doesn't feel like, now that we know Ahsoka is right around the corner, January's still kind of far away. So is December, right? And that's like third week of December. So, like, we'll get a teaser that I think is what we saw that was leaked plus a little bit. And then that'll kind of be like right on time for a full-length trailer to be plugged into these huge releases in the theater. Because it's not just, A New Hope release that they would be marketing for. They're going to do it earlier than that for these huge blockbusters coming in December. But you're right. Like, if they'd have put that out at the same time, we'd have talked about that for an hour and a half today.
Probably.
So,
Because we, as great as Ahsoka is, in the trailer did give us a ton of more questions about season 2. We kind of already, we know all the characters. So, like, we saw this weird looking dude who doesn't have a name in the Clone Wars flashback, and we're all going, who the hell is this? You're seeing crazy theories like it's the son of Mortis or it's Marok or whatever. And that got people talking. The amount of characters that we don't know in Starfighter is far more than Ahsoka. So people will be going, who is this? Who is that? Who's this? Why do they have a lightsaber? What? This is post sequels? Where are these Jedi coming from? Like, it would be far more topic of conversation than Ahsoka would be, because we, as great as Ahsoka and Anakin are, and Baylan and Shin and Sabine, we know who they are. We have already met them before, and it's not something new.
And a lot of what the Ahsoka trailer did for us who talk about it multiple times a week is sort of like give us a quick look at the things we've been talking about, right?
Yes.
Starfighter, we got nothing, right? So, I think we're not far from at least a legitimate teaser trailer. Once, and then obviously I don't think we're that far from another new Ahsoka trailer. Like, I think they'll probably stagger them in some way, but I'm still on the belief that the Starfighter ones will be for sure in theaters in December, along with Doomsday and Dune, maybe earlier, just to get them out there. Which I don't know. Did you guys remember if Mando and Grogu was playing in, the coming attractions at that time last year? Like, when did it start being the theater trailers? Did we even have one? Because we were expecting one for the Super Bowl, didn't get one.
I don't remember.
That was February.
No, that's true. But I also think that now you have so D23 for the Ahsoka stuff, I feel like was more of again the fans. The fans, the real hardcore fans are like us and everybody in the chat are looking forward to Ahsoka, possibly even more than Starfighter, where Starfighter is going to be more of a general public thing, where I think that you have, most people right now are waiting for football season to come up. You got Thursday night football, you got Sunday night, you got Monday night. I feel like they're going to drop a Starfighter trailer in the next month or so, whether it's a teaser or whatever, with one of these big popular things coming out, where at halftime or even during, the first Thursday night football, because I think that's the game that starts off the season. It has been the past couple of years. So that could be a possible, Starfighter thing where it's like, boom, we're going to show this to everybody, all the fans, all the normies, all the people that don't give a shit about Star Wars, whatever. Everybody's going to see this. And like you said, Mike, it's going to be lightsabers and it's going to be superstars and it's going to be, oh my gosh, we got to go see this. Look what's going on. Look what Star Wars has. We got to go see this. So I think that's sort of why, like you said, they don't want to overshadow it, the Ahsoka stuff, because it is coming out sooner, but it's not going to be as big as Starfighter is. So Starfighter is going to get their own, not D23, along with, Pixar and along with other Disney stuff. And, okay, we'll put Star Wars at the end because it's the biggest one we got, but Starfighter is a movie. It's coming out in the theaters, and we want everybody to see this all at once, because even the people that were watching D23 are waiting for it. There's still so many people that haven't seen the Ahsoka trailer because it's okay. Sure, it's part of Star Wars, but I'm sticking to the movies. So I think that's where we're going to get some more of that stuff, because it's going to be so popular in the movie theater for the normie fans as well.
Yeah. And obviously times have changed a lot and it's a different requirement, but like we were running only on a teaser trailer for The Force Awakens for literally a year. So it was like fall of 2014, teaser trailer comes out, doesn't give a whole lot. They give a couple of like almost like trading card-esque bios that don't really give you anything about the movie. And then, like you said, Ron, football season of what was that, 2015? They had a big Monday Night Football on ESPN because it's a Disney company. During this break in the game, everybody shut up. We're playing the first Force Awakens full trailer, which those run very differently than a teaser, right? The weird thing, though, is that would have happened like early football season. That's still in the fall, and the movie released in December. Right. And for the remainder of like the sort of sequel and Star Wars story time, they kind of ran the same thing. Like they would give us the full trailer a few months in advance, but like teasers for like a year, right?
Yeah.
Which I would think if you really wanted to make a big marketing push with this new thing, Starfighter, doing it with Doomsday would be huge. It's already your property, right? Like it's Disney property, but that's still like 5 to 6 months prior to release, a little bit longer than what they did with the sequels. However, with the sequels, you had a year lead in of anticipation, right? And a 10-year lead in since your last anything Star Wars. So I get the difference, but everything that we might have predicted would happen marketing wise for the Mando and Grogu movie that got sort of pushed up to release date. I think maybe the things we thought would happen are going to be like very compressed for Starfighter. Like, did Nathan say we had a teaser for Mandalorian and Grogu in September, the movie released in May? Didn't get like we were thinking we'd get a full trailer in February. Didn't, like I think Starfighter is going to be much earlier than that. I just don't know how much earlier, because I think Ron's right. I think teeing it up during a football game, a Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie, if you're really like, we already know about it, right? Yeah. Like we're going to tune in to see it, but Starfighter is definitely more broad than Ahsoka. I don't think it steps on Ahsoka if it releases a trailer in the lead up. I think if anything, it might bring more people to Ahsoka because we'll see there's another Star Wars thing out. So,
yeah,
I do like the idea though, because we talk about all the time, sort of Disney learning their lesson, especially now with the change over as CEO and president of Lucasfilm. Last year we did get a Super Bowl commercial for the Mandalorian and Grogu, although it was a beer commercial or a spiff on a beer commercial, and it didn't really go well. Fans were not pleased by it. So it'll be interesting to see come this Super Bowl when it's the exact same scenario. They got a Star Wars movie coming out in May. Will we get an actual Starfighter trailer? Will they learn their lesson, or will they give us another spoof with a Ryan Gosling version of a beer commercial for Star Wars?
And that would be the same general time frame that the sequel movies and the Star Wars story movies each got like football TV spots going into Christmas, except now you have the Super Bowl where you're taking the biggest swing you can in terms of advertisement, right?
Absolutely. You
a
also
little bit more of a primed opportunity.
Yeah, well, now that you bring that up, prime time, all that stuff, it's crazy that we haven't brought this up yet. But D23 this weekend, the prime time spot was Star Wars. They were saved best for last. Ahsoka season 2, Starfighter, in the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, was saved for last at D23, and that's competing with The Incredibles. That's competing with Doomsday, which comes out in December before Ahsoka season 2 and Starfighter. So I mean, Star Wars stole the show, to say the least, this weekend, and it'll be interesting to see why that is. Maybe they, over at Disney, maybe they have a little bit more confidence in the future of Star Wars than they do even the future of Marvel.
Yeah, there's a lot of both of them coming out. A lot of Marvel and Star Wars stuff, which is
Marvel's
great.
first.
Yeah.
Marvel's coming out first. Vision Quest is like next month or maybe October, and Doomsday's in December. Oh, one thing that we will shut out before we get out of here is the big, I guess not big, but one of the biggest announcements this weekend, and was at the very tail end of this weekend at T23, was Matt Miknovitz, the head writer for Maul Shadowlord, was on stage doing an interview about Maul Shadowlord Season 1, and he was like, oh yeah, Season 2's coming out in 2027. And then he looks out into the audience and goes, you guys didn't know that? Oh yeah. Oh, we didn't announce that yet? Maul Shadowlord is coming out in 2027. And we were like, what? Okay, thanks. Thanks for the information. So Maul Shadowlord is coming out next year as well.
Yeah. Big year.
Yeah.
Big
well,
year.
and I think that'll be their big three. I think it'll be Ahsoka. I think it'll be Starfighter, and then we'll have Maul. But you have, we have the 50th anniversary of A New Hope. We have Celebration. So next year is definitely going to be a fun year for sure. But like Mike said, yeah, well, we're about ready to get out of here. So it was a big night tonight. A lot to talk about with the Ahsoka trailer. I know we're going to be talking about it tomorrow. I'm sure Mike will be talking about it as well. Even more. So, like I said, make sure you check his breakdown on the Ahsoka trailer out for sure, along with everything else that he has. 2:00 Eastern time for Mike, 1:00 Central time here for us to watch Mike. We haven't done this yet, so everybody that for wishing me a happy birthday, I appreciate that. So, please make sure that you check out the Discord. We do have a Discord now. There's a paid one and a free one. So once we get some members in there, I got some really cool Funko Pops that I want to give away, but we got to get a few more people in there before I start doing that. But thank you guys for being here. Like I said, I couldn't find a better way to spend my birthday is just talking Star Wars with friends and everybody in the chat. We had a great turnout tonight. So thanks everybody for your comments and engaging in the polls and chatting with everybody. So we'll be back here again next week. Hopefully Derek will be on here soon. I know he's working his butt off with his new stuff. So it's just great to have everybody here. Mike and Nick, thank you guys for spending my birthday with me. And
happy birthday, Ron.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday.
And thank you. And check out Mike tomorrow. But until then, we'll see you on the next Star Wars Jedi Chat.